Hello, I'm Kettlebip, and welcome to another dungeon thing in Final Fantasy XIV. This time we're visiting the Sunken Temple of Qarn. The Sunken Temple is a level 35 dungeon, and you don't actually get to come here, or you aren't made to come here, as part of your main quest line. So if you want to come, you go and pick up the quest from Vesper Bay, which is where the Waking Sands is, where you go and pick up all your Scion quests and stuff at the start. And if you talk to the NPC there, and you're level 35, you can pick up the quest and come here. And the other reason you'll really want to come here, regardless of it not being on the main storyline, is that there are mobs in here which appear in your Grand Company hunting log, and you need to complete the hunting log for the Grand Company to be able to get promoted. So it's a really good idea to come here at some point. So I'm here with 3 members of my free company. We've got Sid Hayes, who's a scholar, he's a healer, Get Innocuous, who's a paladin and a tank, and Lance, who's a summoner. And I'm playing a bard. So, you need to come and take a look at this Warden Stone right at the start of the instance, and you'll see that it has 2 icons on the front. In this case we've got a flame on the left and we've got some fruit on the right. Well, it looks like some fruit on the right, and make a note of that because you'll need it near the end of the instance to get yourself a bunch of loot. So the Lost Temple is something of a step up in difficulty from anything I've been through in this game before. It's the first dungeon that I've played in where everyone has to work together to follow the mechanics of the fights and the encounters that you have all the way through. Otherwise things go really bad really fast. So as you come through, you'll find these pedestals on the way round that have got artifacts on, and you want to pick up those as you go round because you use them to unlock sealed off areas to get to treasure. And there is a lot of loot in this dungeon, so you really want to get as much as you can. There's a lot of gear to be had, including crafting gear as well. And there's a lot of trash in here, mostly in packs of 3 and packs of 4. But there's only really one type of trash mob in here that's particularly problematic, and that is the Temple Bee. After a short while they'll start to cast an ability called Final Sting. It can be interrupted, but if it goes off it will pretty much insta-kill the person that it's targeting, so it's going to jib your tank. But if you kill them fast enough they won't cast it. But anytime you've got a pack including a bee, make sure you focus down the bee first. When you get the 2-pack here with the bee and the calm face, once you've done a little bit of damage to the face, it will just run off. So don't go chasing it, you'll be seeing it a bit later. So the next relic you find is a Gem of Affluence, so grab that and carry on moving through the ruins, and you're at the first boss. Now this boss is pretty interesting, as there's a one-shot mechanic involved that if you don't pay attention to it, you're going to get deaded. So the boss starts off fairly easily with a simple tank and spank, and you think, right, this is all gonna be fine. And then he spawns 2 of the wasps, or wesps, which are pretty much the same as the bees. They've also got the final sting ability. So once they've spawned, you need to switch over to them as soon as possible, get one marked up, and focus it down. You want to get them down before they get the chance to cast the final sting, otherwise people are going to start dropping dead. So the boss will start using conal effects and ground targeted AoEs, and he'll also use this ability. This is the most important ability in the fight. It's Doom. You'll tell when he's using it because of the huge red circle in the room. And once you get the Doom debuff, you need to run to the square that is lit up. And once you stand on the square, it will remove the Doom debuff. So here we go, he's casting it again. I get the debuff, but I go to stand on the square and the lights disappeared. So I've got 6 seconds to notice and then run to the other square and get it removed with 2 seconds to spare. So note that as you're running towards a square, make sure that you've actually lost the debuff. But he hasn't got a lot of health, so if you can keep the DPS up, he goes down reasonably fast. And the thing I found easy enough to do is, regardless of whether he's casting Doom or not, just kind of plonk yourself on the lit up square if you've got the mobility to do so. Unfortunately, our tank dropped dead in this attempt. I think he might have died to Doom, I'm not sure. So I end up kind of kite tanking as best I can. In the meantime, Get Innocuous gets a res and gets back into the fight, but there is no way I'm going to lose aggro on this boss, so I'm still trying to lose aggro on the boss, switching to the bees. So I try and use the threat drop ability on the boss, and that does pretty much no good whatsoever because I don't get a chance to hit him to actually lose the threat. I need to keep shooting bees, and in the end, I get splattered. Luckily, I'm able to get a res, get back into the fight, and help take down the bees. And it's a bit messy, but we're able to one-shot the boss. It's all good. So with the boss dead, you carry on making your way down deeper into the ruins. Fighting more bees, death claws, and these guys. Big stone faces is about the best way I could describe them. Now these are a mechanic that appear throughout the dungeon, and they're primarily used to unlock the next areas. And what you need to do is you need to kill them on the squares that are lit up nearby. It falls just wide. Now what happens if you fuck it up like that is that it will respawn again in a few seconds and you have to do it again. So the stone head reappears, we'll finish off the death claw and work to get the stone head back onto the platform. And again, utterly failed to do so. We are the best. Third time's a charm. He's parked right on top of the platform. And great success. And then suddenly you have 2 more. Now the platforms for these are outside in this courtyard, and you need to kill one on a platform on the left and one on the right. And we've got a bit more of a knack of it this time. The first one dies on the first platform, and the second one's brought over and dies to my dumb auto attack damage and Ifrit. Yeah. So the next time he spawns, we park him straight on the platform and bring him down on top of it. And once we've killed the bogey and the skeleton inside the left-hand alcove, we get to loot the Fruit of Knowledge. And then we cross over the courtyard into the alcove on the other side and kill the big pack of skellies and bogies. And in this alcove we get to loot the Flame of Magic. So with those 2 items looted, we get to carry on further into the dungeon. And when you're fighting the next pack of Death Claws, the Qarn face makes another reappearance. But again, once you've twatted it a couple of times, it legs off. With those dead, you get to make your way down deeper into the ruins and face off against a pack of Yarzons. And you can see the second boss just ahead of you through the doorway. So the second boss in the Sunken Temple is a big rock monster, a temple guardian. And he actually caused us some problems on this run. I think we wiped twice to him, to people dying to various stuff. But the gimmick here is that while he's got this Golem Soulstone active, it gives the Temple Guardian a buff where he takes massively reduced damage. So you have to kill the Golem Soulstone, and then you can get a bit of damage in on the boss, and then shortly afterwards he will re-summon the Soulstone. But this could be quite a long fight. In terms of his abilities, he doesn't hit the tank particularly hard, but he does a conal attack with the ground target and a line attack with the ground target, and if the tank or any of the group get themselves caught in that, it really, really hurts. And some of the cones are really quite wide. And once in a while he'll jump up in the air and slam down, doing an ability called Obliterate. And that damages everyone in the room for quite a lot. So if you've got folks running around on low health, it's going to cause real problems and put real stress on your healer. So it's the responsibility of the group to just try and take as little damage as possible. And if you can, use pots and use any kind of cross-class abilities you've got to heal yourself. The other ability he will do, which you can't actually avoid, is that he will target a random member of the group and he'll charge over to them and twat them. And they'll get smacked over to a side of the room and they'll be stunned for a few seconds. So obviously this is not nice if it's your healer, but you just have to live with it. But eventually, we kill him. So with the boss dead and looted, you get to carry on and make your way back uphill a bit, fighting your way through an ocean of Yarzons and bogies, some death claws, and the Qarn face makes another reappearance, but again just runs away just before you get to kill it, until you eventually come across another one of these stone face puzzles. But by now, we've kind of got the knack of it. Thank fuck. But there are 2 stone pedestals in this room, and when you click on the stone pedestal, it will ask you what you want to use, as I understand it. I didn't get to see it myself. And you'll have the options of all of the artifacts that you've picked up so far. So what you need to do is match the picture on the pedestal with the artifact that you picked up, and that unlocks secret areas, and there is an awful lot of loot to be had lying around here. And then, while trying to fight another stone face boss, the Qarn face makes its final reappearance, and I keep thinking it's about to run off, but no, this time it sticks around. And you finally get to kill the thing, and it drops some treasure. So what with the 2 secret areas below, the treasure chest from the Qarn face, and the 2 secret areas on the upper level, this is kind of worth doing. So with the treasure of the Lost Temple of Qarn pretty much cleared out, you're now left with the final stretch to the last boss. So with the trash cleared out, you get access to the last puzzle, the Scales of Justice. And if you notice that they've got the same icons that were on the stone you saw at the beginning of the dungeon. And when you click on it, it'll ask you what you want to put on the scales. And if you remember, we had fire on the left and the fruit on the right. So Get Innocuous just puts the right things on the right scales, and that opens up the boss. And a real Indiana Jones styly cutscene. So having put the right items on the stones, we also open up a final treasure chamber, which has got 4 pieces of loot in it. So on to the final boss, the Adjudicator, who is a more complex fight than the previous 2, but strangely it was easier. There are several mechanics that happen here. If you notice, there are 3 of the platforms or plates around the room, and we had head spawn. So we knew that, okay, we got to drag the heads onto the plates, and somehow we managed not to mess it up, so things are going good. So given that there's 3 plates, we're expecting another 2 of them. So I think, right, okay, I'll see if I can pick this one up and drag it onto the right hand plate. But it falls just wide of the platform. And we have something of a little bit of a clusterfuck in trying to get our 3 heads onto platforms. But we get there eventually. And now 3 different types of totems start to spawn. The first type, which is this one, is like a laser, and it will just periodically pew across the area. It's avoidable, but if you let them stack up, things could probably get quite messy, so you just DPS those ones down. You get totems which have a large sort of smoky black square beneath them, and I initially started trying to shoot these down, and it was only after trying to do a couple that I realised that they have a buff, which means that they really can't take very much damage. And what they do after they've been up for a few seconds is that they do a huge pulse of AoE damage, but then they disappear. So seeing them is just kind of a precursor to this big lump of damage coming out. The third type of totem that appears, it has like a translucent wall around it, and if you walk into that area you'll get walled in and trapped, and the only way to get out is to DPS down your own totem. So when we spotted those, we just killed them anyway. And somehow, through sheer attrition, we actually managed to kill the boss. Go us! So there we go. That's the Sunken Temple of Qarn. A real cracking Indiana Jones style adventure of a dungeon. And a real kind of glimpse at how difficult the fights in Final Fantasy XIV might eventually get. And I can kind of see why this isn't on the main quest line and is optional, because I imagine this might cause and pick up some problems, but all in all, really fun and well worth doing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!